Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Worship Wednesday. I do not take it lightly. I do not take it for granted. I will forever and always be humble, grateful, and thankful that you keep coming back and seeing what God is doing in and through my life, but told through a profession of dance. As always, I'm glad you're here and appreciative that you have returned to ride out 2025, and Lord knows when this is going to end and beyond, to see what is going on with me. Thank you for entrusting me with, a little part of your Wednesday. I'm so appreciative. So I don't really have a real cohesive thought process for this. Not that I really necessarily have a cohesive thought process for any of these, but like really for this one, I'm just kind of like, I don't even know how to string this all together. Because I have a lot of thoughts. So actually this song was on my potential playlist for the original Worship Wednesday. And it just was one of those ones that kept getting pushed to the back burner, or other things would come up, so it never got done. So at the time, and I'm bringing it up back then because I feel like it's still like relevant, and those were real feelings, and I don't want to discredit those either. So at the time, it was probably right around my 30th birthday where I started talking about how like me being chill, me being laid back, me being like basically like calm, and you'll get that in a second. Me being calm like has usually worked for my benefit, and not necessarily like eliciting really big outward expressions or outward responses, and being an internal processor, right? Like I kind of talked about that a little bit, and it was bothering me at the time because I was really struggling with my like relationship with dance, like outside of the Worship Wednesday series, and feeling like that lack of expression was impacting my ability as a dancer. And not that anybody was questioning my commitment to dance, but like the quality of dance that I was giving or the way that I was able to perform was because I'm chill like this. And so it was something that I had always seen as an attribute, always seen as a good thing. I was like, is it now gonna risk, or does it now lessen the quality of something that I really am caring about, that I really am passionate about, that I really am trying to put my best foot forward in? Is it gonna affect that, right? And so I struggled with that back then. And so I think I just found another song, and I kind of looped that kind of notion or thought process into that. And so I never did this song then. Now it's for something different, and I think it's just as valid. So I'm thankful that I was able to weave that in, but I also wanted to say that because that's kind of where I was when I first started like really listening to this song. So it really has nothing to do with my calm. The name of the song is God of the Calm, and I'll get there too. But what I'm really struggling with right now, and I feel like I've used this word more than a few times over the last like couple weeks, about this whole notion of like in peace versus indifference, right? And where do I lie in this season of my life? Like, what am I feeling? And so I was just having a conversation with someone where I very much like, because I am this, like pretty like even keeled, I don't like it when, or it really bothers me when people expect like a big reaction in order for me to convey a message, right? So like if I'm looking at you or having a conversation with you, and in that conversation I'm like, you know, X, Y, and Z really hurt my feelings, or I don't really like it when you do blah 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 blah, or whatever. Those are great examples. Like what? So if I'm like, I don't really like this when you do this, or this really hurt my feelings, should I have to elicit a bigger response in order for you to sense the severity in what I'm saying? One of my coworkers said a couple weeks ago, like, Elise just speaks very matter of fact. And I'm like, because most of the time it either is or it isn't. Like, say what you mean what you say. So if I say to you, I really don't appreciate how blah 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 was done, do I need to yell to make sure you understood that? Do I need to curse you out in order for you to understand that I meant that for real? I gotta flip tables and come out of character in order for you to be like, oh, she meant what she said. No, can I just say that? And so I'm just like, part of me is like, is this another opportunity of my calm that's gonna get the best of me? And like something that I've always seen as like a positive or something that's good is that like now, like, not that it makes it a negative attribute now, but like, is that something that I need to internalize as not being 100% good or all good, or something that I need to be aware of. And I don't think I should have to. Like, yes, advocate for myself. Yes, speak up when I need to speak up. But like, somebody said something I was having a tough conversation with someone, and I think I said this actually on last week, like, I really appreciate how you're handling this. Like, how else was I supposed to handle it? And did that, not excusing away someone's behavior, but like, did that give them permission to not handle the resolution as aggressively as they needed to, or be as pressed about making things right? Because they were like, oh, well, when I said it to Elise, she didn't react how I thought somebody in this situation would react. Well, that wasn't my reaction. Just because that wasn't my reaction doesn't mean that it didn't hurt, or that it wasn't a problem, or that I wasn't bothered by it, right? And so as you can see, I'm bothered. But at the same time, I'm also not bothered, right? And so I keep saying to myself, specifically in this situation, like, just because something catches me by surprise doesn't mean that it caught God by surprise, right? And just because it's something that I'd prefer not to be happening doesn't mean that it's falling on blind eyes in terms of God, right? And so when people say like everything happens for a reason, and how the Bible says all things work together, and to trust him, you know? And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, is this the calm? And the song even says like, God in the storm, God of the calm. So like, even in the midst of the storm, I'm not rah-rahing. And like, as much as I want to believe that like, oh, I'm just even killed, but I also know that like, I know who my Father is. I know that he wants good things for me. And even though the situation doesn't feel good, it doesn't look good, and honestly, it's not good. But I think that's a good indicator of him not being done, him still being at work. And like, I'm genuinely praying like, Lord, whatever the lesson is in this, I got it. Do I not have it? What am I missing? Like, what's the bigger picture here? With also not trying to, that was crazy. With also not trying to be impatient, you know? And so I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm believing that when this is all said and done, that I can say like, hey God, I made it through this and I was able to trust you through it all. Hey God, I made it through this and it didn't overtake me. Hey God, I made it through this and I didn't, break out of character for it. Hey God, I made it through this and I trusted and believed in your calm. I saw the storm and I realized that it was coming, or that it was, honestly, that it's here. And while there might not be, I'm not gonna say there's not anything I can do about it, because there are things that I'm trying to do about it, but they all seem to be to no avail. And so I said, like, it's not for the sake of like not trying, and so I genuinely believe that because it's like I'm trying all these things and these things aren't panning out or these things aren't working, that like it has to be more spiritual than natural, because it's not like I'm not giving effort. And so, Father God, please in this time, like, help me to think on, help me to surface mentally, like, what is needed of me in this time, what is expected of me in this time. And God, if it is just to be able to say I made it through this while trusting and believing and standing on your promises and believing in the calm, then you're gonna have to help me keep the calm. So here I am, somewhere on the teeter-totter tightrope in the middle somewhere, if you will, struggling with like, is my calm problematic? Is it a problem? Is it a flaw? Or are there flawed views of it that I have? Versus like, do I lean into it? Do I trust it? Do I continue to carry out what I think is the right reaction? Because aside from the fact that I also don't necessarily feel inclined to do big grand reactions, it's like, it's also exhausting. It's so much easier to be like, I don't like this, or this is not ideal, but this is the situation, so what are we gonna do to move forward? Versus like cussing and fussing and throwing things and breaking stuff and whatever the heck else I'm supposed to be doing, And so the song says, I will place my faith in who you are. God in the storm, God of the calm. So I'm not chilling, but I'm chilling. I feel like I said that last week too, but I'm still in the middle of it, so I guess I can say the same things and feel the same feels, because God in the storm, God of the calm. I also think I love this song a little bit differently now, because this is the song where my niece knows it's time for you to go to bed. God of the calm. Calm your body. Good night. And so I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to take my tail to bed. Calm your body and good night. Because honestly, there's nothing more I can do about this situation tonight. I will continue to try and make strides tomorrow. And if in fact, when I close my eyes tomorrow, that nothing still has changed, I will know that I at least relied on God of the calm to calm me in the middle of the storm. And right now, that's all I got. So yeah. Did that come out coherent? Because I felt like I was rambling. But I did warn y'all that I said I had no concrete way that I was organizing this. So, love y'all. But my brain is fried. I'm so tired. It's also been a long week. Like, just energy-wise. Like, not like things happening. Just a lot energy-wise. But yet and still, I'm thankful. And I'm grateful for this space and this time. And I'm you know what? And I'm grateful for calm, because how much more energy would I be exerting if I had to? I don't even be screaming. That's so crazy. So crazy. Whatever. I trust God. We bless God. I'm thankful. Thank you for listening to me ramble. As always, I pray that something that I said or some movement that you saw gives you something to talk about with God today. I pray that you are able to take it a step further and use this as an opportunity to have conversations to talk about why you believe. Take it even a step further. I pray that when life hands you something that is less than ideal, when somebody wants to poke and prod at you and get a reaction out of you, that you are able to meet them with the calm. And that's not just like being relaxed, but like the grace, the love that our Father extends to us, because He is such a good God. He is such a good Father. I also pray that anything I said that was contrary to God's will and God's alignment, I pray that it gets cast away, far, far away into the sea of forgetfulness. And I pray that you charge it to that I ramble, and not to the heart and the character of my Father. Lord willing, I will see you again next week. This has been your weekly episode of Worship Wednesday. Good night. I'm going to bed.
I may not see your way out. I could be blinded by the things I see. I may not know my way back. I've been running, I'm running still. I hope that you come through. But if you don't, I trust you. At the end of the day, my faith will still remain the same. I'm not broken. If the sun don't rise at 7 a.m. and the night gets longer, oh, it don't end, I will build my faith in who you are. God in the storm, God of the calm. It's been a decade, but I am still miles away. Getting weary at every step of the way. This in a tunnel feels more like a well-dug grave. It's dark, it's cold, it's taking my breath away. I hope that you come through. But if you don't, I trust you. At the end of the day, my faith will still remain the same. I'm not broken. If the sun don't rise at 7 a.m. and the night gets longer, oh, it don't end, I will build my faith in who God in the storm, God of the calm. Oh, if the sun don't rise at 7 a.m. and the night gets longer and we don't end up, I will build my faith in who you are. God in the storm, God